Hello, fellow translators. So I was told by someone I should start my videos in another way that's more original, and I was suggested to start with hello, fellow language nerds, which I admit I kind of like. So let me know if you think that's a good way to start out or if I should just continue the way I'm doing. But anyway, for now, I'll just continue with hello, fellow translators. The subject matter for today is what do translators do and what don't they do? This might seem kind of elementary and something you should know, but in my experience, this falls under the category of is it right for the client to ask me to do this or not, but I'm a bit embarrassed to ask. So here in this video, I'm just going to cover everything that translators do and what they shouldn't or what they don't need to do really. And so if prospective clients or if clients ask you to do something, you know and you have a better idea as to what's expected of you and what should be included and what shouldn't. And I really hope this will clarify things for a lot of people because it seems to be an issue. So let's get into it. So what do translators do? Let's start off very simply. They translate. That's it. Now, this includes TEP. What's TEP is translation, editing, proofreading. And so in general, I recommend that everyone does translation, editing, proofreading. Sometimes you get clients that say, no, we don't need the editing, proofreading. But that always seems like a slippery slope because it just means that you're submitting subpar quality work. And so generally, I recommend translation, editing, proofreading. That all falls under translation. That's what translators are expected to do. It includes, obviously, within translation, it can be localization or transcreation. This is a type of translation. This also obviously includes the research into the terminology and stuff that you need to do. Includes your own glossary terminology management. Now, remember this is terminology management, glossary management, which is different from creation, which we'll get into later. But, this is, so in essence, this means that if you translate a term in one way, like say there's statuti, I translate it as articles of association. If I do it at the beginning of the document, I need to translate it the exact same way later on in the document. And I need to manage this and keep track of how I translate things. All of this falls under translation. And obviously, CAT tool usage, this also falls under translation. Now, whether you have to purchase it or not, this can lead to a negotiation. This can be extra, and so you can see. But in terms of using and knowing how to use the CAT tool, all this falls under translation. It falls under your purview. So all of these things are something that translators do. Yes, it all falls under your purview. Another thing that I include is for translators, and this is mainly for freelance translators, only for freelance translators, but most of you are freelance translators. So this includes all the freelance activities. What does this mean? Well, it means marketing yourself, getting your name out there, going on social media, whatever it might be. It means invoicing the clients, making sure you invoice them correctly and on time. It includes sales, finding new clients and getting those sales, getting them to hire you. It includes communication, timely communication with clients and keeping in touch with them, letting them know how it's going. And it includes the timeline, making sure you get things in by deadline and stuff like that. All of these are freelance activities, but they fall under the purview of what you do. Any freelancer, any entrepreneur would have to do these. So yes, all of these fall under your purview, and these are things that you should be doing. Now, what do translators not do? What does not fall under the purview? Pretty much anything else. And you'll get asked to do quite a few other things. However, if you're asked to do other things, these could be done for a fee. And so what does it include? It includes formatting, collating. You'll see this for like invoice statements, financial statements, stuff like that. They'll need a lot of formatting done. You might need to collate different documents together, creating a glossary. So remember before I mentioned glossary management, this is for your own personal use. But if you need to create a glossary for a client, this is something extra because they might say we need all the main terms and the terminology. We need to create a glossary for it so we can have it for future use. Yeah, you can do that for a fee, because that's in addition to the translation. And obviously things like notarization and other stuff that's bureaucratic in nature. A lot of times you need to do stuff similar to that. In terms of checking figures, again, for financial statements, they might want you to make sure that the figures are correct and that they add up or stuff like that. This is in addition to translation. Collaborations, what does that mean? That means working with other translators, maybe working as a team. And if this involves other things, well, yeah, that's extra to just pure translation. And any other ancillary activity. And it can really run the gamut. A lot of times they'll want you to work with some other client of theirs, or they'll want you to work with their accountant to make sure this and that works and blah, blah, blah. All of these are extra. And they can be done for a fee, but they don't necessarily need to be done by translators. You can always say, I'm a translator. I'm happy to provide translation for you, but these other things are not things I do, or, they cost a bit extra. Many of you might be wondering, what about AI? Lately, you get a lot of requests about AI from clients saying, oh, we have something that has been translated by AI. We need you to edit it, or we want you to use AI for your translation. So how do you deal with that? And in general, AI editing, so they'll still call it machine translation post-editing, but it's not. It's AI editing. It's not really editing, because you're not editing a translator's work, and you cannot question them. And you can't say, well, they translated statuti as bylaws, but it should be translated as article association. No, AI might have translated a bunch of different ways. AI can hallucinate. AI can, do a lot of different things, and you cannot question AI about it. AI will not let you know, well, I wasn't sure about this, so I translated it that way, or something along those lines. So it's not really editing a translator's work. I refer to this as QC, as quality control. So again, it's something that you can do for a fee, but it's something extra, and it is quality control. So my advice in general, whenever you're asked to do these extra things, is don't refuse to do anything right offhand. Say, okay, I can look into it. I can definitely do it, but for a fee. Look, if you want to include it, or if you say, okay, I'm going to lose the client if I don't include it, then you can include it, but I would at least make sure that you mention it, that you're including it this time. Be like, look, okay, I'll check your numbers. I'll do the formatting. I'll do whatever. I'll include it this time, despite the fact that it is extra work, or that it falls outside of the purview of translation, or, whatever it might be. And so I will let them know that it is something extra. And in general, like I mentioned, for AI, what I usually recommend is to call it quality control consultation, or at least that you're doing quality control of AI. And you can mention it. You can say, because it's not really editing, it's not proofreading, because I can't consult with AI. AI is not a person. You had this machine, which quite frankly, can do a good job sometimes, but other times can hallucinate and can do a terrible job. And it won't let me know when it's not sure of something, or where it's more sure of something else, or if it didn't use engineering terminology, but it used, botanical terminology or something like that, because it doesn't specialize in one area or another. So this is really quality control. And again, my advice is to say, I'm happy to perform this quality control, but let's call it what it is, which is quality control, because that shows A, that you know what you're talking about, and B, that it needs to be treated a bit differently, and which it does. And so they can't just call it editing and say, okay, edit what needs to be done. And by the way, they will give you all sorts of things. I know this English to Chinese translator who was given a text that was translated by AI, and he was looking over it, and a lot of parts were just odd. And it was only after some talking back and forth with the client that he realized the original was actually in Polish. And so it had been translated from Polish into Chinese, and he was supposed to check the Chinese, but it wasn't even originally from English into Chinese. And so yeah, a lot of things can go wrong with this. So that's why I recommend calling it quality control consultation. Ask for the text in the source and target languages so you can do your quality control correctly. And that's pretty much it. And so like I said, it can be straightforward, but it should be clear cut. And I hope this makes things a bit more clear cut for you, and that you understand what is expected by a translator and what isn't. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But by and large, this is it. This is how it works for translators. And so if a client is asking you to do other things, keep it in mind. And again, my recommendation, don't refuse anything, but don't be scared to add on a fee for it, because you deserve it, quite frankly. And again, if you're afraid that you're going to lose a client because of the extra fee, then include it, but mention that you're including it this time, and mention that it is something extra, but you will include it this time, just so at least they know. So hopefully you found this useful. So if you indulge me for a second, I'm going to let you know about the Freelance Translator Academy. And this has everything you would need as a freelance translator in one platform. Plus, now if you sign up for it, you'll get free access to the Freelance Translator Certification Test. So what does it include? When I say everything, it includes the course, How to Be a Successful Freelance Translator. It also includes the resume or CV for freelance translators. It includes the guides to pros.com. It includes LinkedIn for freelance translators, how to optimize LinkedIn, and also how to optimize pros. It includes AI for translators, which has AI tips, but also how to find clients in this world of AI, how to deal with AI, how to tackle AI head on because it's all over the place now. It also includes a course called How to Network for Introverts. So if you're introverted and you want to network and get out there, get your name out there, it includes all these strategies for that. Plus it includes extras that are ancillary but that you might find useful, such as how to move abroad as a digital nomad, i.e. how to be an expat and how to move abroad as an adult and not one of these fly-by-night things, but actually how to move abroad, because that's what I've been doing with my family. How to learn a new language as an adult, how to run your business using freelancers, which again is what I do, and also how to set up your own translation agency. Plus, it has an additional webinar called Freelance Translators. You can translate, but can you freelance? This ties into what I mentioned before about freelancing, being an entrepreneur and doing your own business. So it deals with the freelance aspect of freelance translation. And also included, as mentioned before, is free access to the Freelance Translator Certification Test. And so you'll get a link so you can access the test for free. And it gives you the possibility of taking the test, I think, 10 times. It has a pass rate of around 29%. Last time I checked, and so you get 10 goes at it that's also included with this. So you can check out the link below to see if you're interested in the Freelance Translator Academy. Otherwise, that's about it for now, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks, bye. Savedum.